Hi there, I'm Tassia Boschema from the Restigouche CBDC. Through the Restigouche Breaking Workplace Silence project, which is funded in part by Women and Gender Equality Canada, we recently launched tools for Restigouche employers designed to help them learn how to respond to employees facing domestic violence in the workplace. Through our work, we learned of an existing provincial resource here in New Brunswick called It's Your Business, a Domestic and Intimate Partner Violence Workplace Toolkit. With me now is Silke Brabander, the chair of the committee that created this provincial toolkit. First, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell me a little bit about where this toolkit came from?
Yes, certainly. So the work originally stems from a research team of the Miriam McQueen Ferguson Center that looked at the issue of family violence back in the 1990s and how it can have severe impacts on employees and workplaces. Issues like absenteeism or not being able to concentrate on your job because of the abuse you're suffering at home, or even the violence following you to work. We've even seen cases of domestic homicides in the workplace, for example. And that research started way back in the 1990s. And in the early 2000s, we launched our first toolkit for employers right here in New Brunswick. I'm told actually that it was the first one in Canada at the time.
Oh, really? That's really interesting. And it looks like you recently launched a newer version. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did. We rebranded our look, but we also incorporated more up-to-date research because it had been, close to 15 years. And we included more ideas for employers to really understand that they have a role to play in addressing domestic violence, as do all employees.
Okay. And why now? What prompted you to relaunch the toolkit if it already existed?
Well, aside from wanting to refresh the brand, to modernize the overall look of the toolkit, we also did it in response to two new or recent pieces of legislation here in the province that have employer responsibilities attached to them. So one is an amendment to one of the Occupational Health and Safety Act regulations as of April 2019, which means that employers are now responsible for conducting risk assessments for violence in the workplace, including domestic violence, and that's a new piece. So they have to be aware how to do that, and we worked with WorkSafe New Brunswick to provide information on that in our toolkit, and we've worked together to develop training for employers too. And then the other piece of legislation that came into effect under New Brunswick's Employment Standards Act in 2018 requires employers to provide certain leaves for their employees who've been affected by domestic or intimate partner or even sexual violence. So this requires, again, that employers be aware of signs and risk factors and learn appropriate responses to these types of violence. But even more important than just reinforcing legislation, we also wanted to send out the message that everyone has a stake in helping to prevent domestic violence or intimate partner violence. Contrary to popular belief that it's, none of my business, it's actually everyone's business. Hence our name, It's Your Business. Of course, that's a little bit of a play on words too, since we're trying to target the employment sector. But in fact, there are direct costs to employers that have been documented in the millions of dollars related to domestic violence. So it's a win-win for everyone to read up on this information, whether you're an employee, an employer, or a union, there's a role for you to play.
Great. So how can people find out more or get in touch with you?
Yeah, so people can go to our website, which is toolkitnb.ca, since it's a toolkit for employers and it was created right here in New Brunswick. So toolkitnb.ca. And there you can read up on all the different implications of domestic violence in the workplace on the fact sheets and resources we have available. You can contact us through the contact page, or you can contact us directly through our Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn pages at the handle @toolkitnb.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And thank you to all the partners involved in the Provincial Domestic and Intimate Partner Violence in the Workplace Committee. We appreciate your work, and we certainly appreciate your collaboration with the Restigouche Breaking Workplace Silence project.
Thank you. Yes, the work wouldn't have been possible without these wonderful organizations, including yours. And thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you, and have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.